Hello, this is a very quick workshop on perspective. I'm going to share with you a few rules, a few simple ideas about perspective, which is all about getting a bigger sense of depth in a drawing, in a painting, or in our case, in a relief carving. Particularly, it applies to landscape and any carving you have with a building in it. The best way for me to show you this is just to get a piece of paper and to draw you a few things. So imagine you're looking at the horizon down a railway track. So here are the train tracks themselves. And if we were standing in the middle of the train track, we would know that these rails disappear to a point on the horizon like this. And that's because the eye focuses in this sort of way. The light comes into the eye in this way. And the sleepers, which would be like this, would get closer and closer together like this as they go away. And that's something you readily recognize. So there's a couple of points here. First of all, this convergence of lines, and also lines that are horizontal, or horizontal in the sense of being at the same plane as the horizon, will stay like this. So these lines won't change as they go like this. They go back. And say over here, if we had a fence over here, and then we had fence posts like this, they would get smaller and smaller. Let's stop there. But you see, so that would be like a fence getting smaller and smaller over here. So again, it's just converging to a point. And this is called single point perspective. Not very useful in a lot of carving, but like if you wanted something like a rocket coming off up here, for example, you could have it shooting out from the single point perspective. So this parallel rocket would sort of come from there like that, and you could make this give a lot of dynamism. So that's single point perspective, where everything converges to one point at what we call a vanishing point on the horizon. The best way for me to show you two-point perspective is to draw you a house. In two-point perspectives, we literally have two vanishing points, one over here and say one over here. And these will be variable, but there won't be this single point in the middle. One of the rules of the whole drawing perspective is that verticals remain vertical. So a corner of a house might be like that here. And then this side of the house would head off to the vanishing point over here. Let's put it like that. So this is coming down here. So this is the bottom part of the house along here. And perhaps the top of the wall by the roof would be over here. And that would head to the vanishing point over there. So this would be vertical here. So here's the corners of the house. And then this side does the same thing. This plane of the house heads towards this vanishing point. So it heads over here, and this one also, let's put it like this, so that's heading over here. So here we have the side of the house there. So you can see we've got a sort of box. Now if we were looking at the house from above, then the vanishing points would work like this. So you'd have the uprights like this, and then you'd come down here like so, like this. And then these would remain vertical again. Yeah, and then this side of the box, as it is at the moment, would be like that. Then this one would come across here. So all these planes go to the vanishing point. And similarly, if you do that up here, you'll see that this is reversed up to that side. Now if we were to put a roof on the house, we'd obviously have the ridge, and the ridge would head, because again it's parallel to all these things, this ridge would head like a vanishing point towards this side over here. So there's the ridge coming down here. Now where is the centre of the house? Well, now because we're looking at the side of the house, and this part of the house, this edge, is further away than this is towards us, so the midline goes a bit further away. So instead of being in the middle, the midline is now a little bit across to this way. So if we continue this up like so, then the house ridge is up here, like so. And then this must be parallel with that. And there's the top of our house across here. Like that. So if there was a chimney on the house, you know, like, let's put it here, 2 verticals, the top of the chimney would come to this vanishing point over here. There's a vertical on this side, and then this side would come over here. You see, so the chimney would or the block at the top would look like that. If we put a door in, we'd have verticals. Like, here's a door. So the top of the house, the top of the door rather, is heading across there. These would be vertical. If we had a window in the house, again verticals, they don't change. So across here, this line is going to this one. This line is going to that finishing point again. Now, where's the centre of the window? Well, the centre of the window, because this side is now further away than this side, this centre has to be a little bit over here, not in the midline. And then the centre of the frame might be like that. So you can use perspective to sort of make the eye do some work, make the brain do some work and tell you this is 3-dimensional. And you could do the same sort of thing with this. This is further away, so that's halfway. So we make the roof like that. And the top of the roof line is heading over there, and of course parallel here. So the roof would be like this here, on this house. So that's the 2-point perspective, where the planes on the corner go to each vanishing point. And it matters where these vanishing points are, and they don't have to be on your paper. So, for example, you could have a vanishing point really close up here. Let's use these lines down here. So I've got a vanishing point close on this side, like that, but a long way away. So this is really heading right off the paper up that side. And you'd have a different sort of feeling where you put the vanishing points in relationship to these corners. So this is basically what's happening for a cube or a square or a box or a building, that sort of thing. And you need to make sure that the verticals remain vertical. Parts which are further away get smaller, and the lines of the different planes head to these different vanishing points. Here's a working drawing of one of the projects on this site. The dotted line here is the horizon coming across here, and the building is pretty much on the horizon, and you can see that the vanishing point comes here, and various parts like this edge, the roof, the guttering here, the bottom, they all in this direction come to this vanishing point. Verticals stay vertical, and various other parts go to this vanishing point, which is way off the picture over there, and that's what gives it its particular feel. It's not quite right, because the way this window is drawn is not right. This bottom edge, because it's parallel to the floor, will head to the vanishing point. This edge, the top of this window, because they're the same height, this should really be up here. So these two should go to the vanishing point as well. And I also need to check that this corner here is going to the vanishing point. So I need to just check this, and that's a good thing to do, because there's a logic in the perspective, and you want to check that in your drawings. If it's present, you want to check that it works. Perspective like this gives the subject depth when it's very flat. So this, in a low relief, the perspective here will be very important to get right, to give a good sense of depth in the picture. When we are carving and we have more wood, so we are actually using a high relief, then other aspects can come into play. For example, in this carving, which is in the project on the site, objects which are nearer the viewer are stronger, they're more undercut. We can do that with the wood. We can give shadows, we can have more detail, it's much more in the foreground. As we get further away, then edges can become softer, less shadow, less detailed, and so you can use those as well as a perspective. And you can see here we've got a bit of a vanishing point heading over here somewhere, this side of the boat and that side of the boat over here. you can use that to make more of the depth. Well, I hope that was helpful. What I'd encourage you to do is to get yourself a piece of paper and put on a horizon line, some vanishing points, and just start playing around and see how this thing works. It's quite good fun, and I hope you enjoy it.